Hi guys, welcome to my webinar. This is a pre-recorded webinar. My name is Lamesha P. Anderson. Do not forget the P. I'm a New York State licensed realtor and I'm also a credit and financial specialist. Yes, so today I'm just going to pretty much do a webinar for you guys to teach you how to master credit, period, knowing the fundamentals of period, the fundamentals of credit, how to master your credit by fixing your credit and how to rebuild your credit, and most of all, how to maintain your credit after it is fixed. Because a lot of times what happens is we'll pay these companies to fix our credit, but because we don't understand the value and the steps to actually maintain that credit, we go back to square one. So hopefully this webinar will give you some massive insight on how to maintain a good credit score. Anything over 740 is what I consider good. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I hope the background doesn't have too much light. I should probably close this. Y'all see that scene though? I love my view. It's so inspiring. But let me close it. So, okay, great. That is better, hopefully. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Okay, so Mastering Credit Period by Lamesha Anderson, of course. So my name is Lamesha Anderson. Thanks for purchasing my course. I initially made this course for to sell it, but then I'm like, you know what? There's so many people who don't have the money to actually purchase this information, and I think it's so valuable. So hopefully it helps. And hopefully you guys are grateful that it's free. It is available also on Gumroad for a free PDF download. Okay, so I created this course because I too was searching for information to permanently fix my credit. I paid to get my credit fixed, but shortly after I was back to square one. Why? Because I was not educated on how credit actually works, period. Okay, my objection for this course is to educate you and also New York State licensees, because a lot of agents who are selling homes or renting apartments and they themselves don't understand, just like myself. I'm a licensed real estate agent and I didn't understand why credit was important, although I was renting and selling homes. So I hopefully to help them as well as just regular people. And two, to educate you on how to fix your own credit before hiring me or anyone else. Throughout this course, I'll be sharing helpful tips and tricks to improve credit score and also highlighting actions to avoid, so many actions to avoid. Disclaimer, this course is for educational purpose only, and no part of it should be used, construed, or interpreted for or as legal advice. So this is not legal advice, just me giving my opinion to you. Still go ahead and do your research, but this is valuable information that I've done a lot of research on to help you. Okay, cool. Please contact your legal counsel or employing broker for legal advice or general legal information. Just want to clear that. Okay, so what is a credit report? What is a credit report? Let me get this out of the way. Okay, a credit report contains information on where you work, live, and how you pay your bills, and whether you've been sued, filed for bankruptcy, pretty much everything about you. Credit reporting agency, also called credit bureaus. They gather this information and sell it to creditors, employers, insurance company. Like when you get your auto insurance, home insurance, they sell it to these people. So it's a big, I'm not going to call it a scheme, it's a big business. They sell your information, and that is a big business. Um, and they even sell it back to you as the consumers in a form of a credit report. So when you go and you purchase like FICO, Equifax, and then telling you, oh, pay this for you to see your credit report, they charge you to know information about yourself, you know? It's a big game, but what can you do? So the three major credit bureaus are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. But there are many, many other secondary bureaus that no one know about, and they are so important because let's say you file a dispute with Experian. What Experian will do is go to like companies like LexisNexis, Innovis, and they'll ask and they'll inquire about information about you. So what I always tell my clients to do is first, before we start disputing, I'm going to freeze your account with all the secondary bureaus. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So why all three report differently? Okay, so three credit bureaus. Let's dive right into the basics. There are three major credit bureaus and nearly 1,000 smaller bureaus. Credit reporting is a big business. TransUnion, they're based in Chicago, third largest credit agency, service to approximately 45,000 businesses and 500 million consumers worldwide. Equifax, founded in 1899, the oldest of all the three agencies. They gather information over 400 million credit holders worldwide. They're based in Atlanta, Georgia. Experian, the largest of the three, they are based in Ireland. So Equifax is the oldest, Experian is the largest. They are based in Ireland and employ over 17,000 employees. Their revenue last year was $5 billion. Imagine that. They're making $5 billion of our information. Crazy. Okay, credit score. Credit score is a numerical expression backed with data and analysis of a person's credit file to represent their creditworthiness. When FICO launched credit score, many people thought it wouldn't last. Many people were so fixed on a credit report and thought that was the only way to it could be done, until FICO, which is actually a person's name. I'm gonna break that down later on. Until FICO came out with a credit scoring model that made creditors didn't have to read the report. They would just go by the score. So what happened with FICO? They do like a numerical analysis for you. Like before the number scoring came out, everyone had to go through reading the actual report. But now these companies do pretty much the work for them, and they'll take your information and put it in a scoring system that starts from 300 to 850. So that's how your score is based off information, and they put it in the numbers thing just to make it easier for the creditors to look at you like, oh, she's 350, no, she's too risky, she's 850, okay, she's good. Back then they'll just go by everything that's on your credit report. Why credit is important? Why? Of course, for business and for personal. Insurance rate, yes, they judge your credit score when you're doing like auto insurance, home insurance. Unfortunately, it does go by your credit score. And opportunities, borrowing power. If you want to borrow money to buy your home or to fund your business, it does go by your credit score as well. And a lot of people do not know that employment purpose. A lot of companies do look into your credit score and see how credible you are based on your credit score, which to me makes no sense, because obviously we need a job so we could get in a better credit scoring situation, but these companies, they have their hidden agenda. They take steps on why they shouldn't hire you because you're not that responsible. So credit is very, very important. Like I tell everyone, your credit is your reputation. I also have some shirts available that says, my credit is my reputation. Once you mess it up, it basically takes some time to be rebuilt, but it's not the end of the world, because in America here, after 7 years of messing up your credit, 7 years, they'll give you a clean slate if you do nothing. So if you owe a bill, it goes into collection within the 7 years. After 7 years, legally, it has to be deleted, but who the hell want to wait 7 years to get their life together? No one. Okay, if you're looking for a personal loan or a business loan, same thing. What's your credit score? It's always going to be, what's your credit score? What's your credit score? That will always be the question for anything. You're looking for an apartment, what's your credit score? You're looking to borrow money, what's your credit score? So your credit is your reputation to these companies. Common credit issues to look for when analyzing your credit. Inaccuracy. Questionable items, meaning like, let's say you and someone in your family have the same name, and you notice that there's something on your report that doesn't belong to you. These are legal ways that you could get it off your credit report by filing a dispute. If you have duplicates in account, like I had a couple years ago, I had an account with Verizon, and when I was looking over my credit report, I seen that it was reported twice. So it was doubling affecting my credit score. So I filed a dispute, and I was able to get both of them off because it was inaccurate. So they had to legally delete all of it, pretty much. Excessive inquiries, like when you're applying for something and they see that you apply for so many cards, whether you get declined or approved, they're gonna be looking like, why are you so desperate for credit? And that will get you denied. So just be very careful with that. Most companies like to see like 3 to 5 inquiries per year. But myself, I would say once your credit is good, the inquiries don't really matter once you have above 740. But if your credit is very low and you're constantly applying, you're gonna look desperate for one, and you're gonna keep getting your losing points that you need because your credit is so low. But once your credit is pretty stable, apply as much as you can, apply as much as you want, because now you have leverage, you have good credit, you have good credit history, so the inquiries don't really matter then, if that makes sense. Then there's mixed credit files. What does mixed credit files mean? That means you have like store cards like Macy's, Old Navy, any store account, and you have like an auto loan, you have a charge card like an Amex card. So they like to see a mixture of your credit score, and that's 15% of your overall credit score. Conflicting personal information. When you're going over your report, you always want to make sure that the only personal information that's reflected is your full legal name, is spelled correctly, your current address. If you live in another address more than 2 or 3 years, you want to make sure that's the only thing that's presented on your credit report, your current employer, your current phone number. Anything else that's no longer associated with you, I would say find a dispute to update your personal information. Like, this is incorrect. I no longer live here. Please update. So before I dispute any of my clients, I always focus on their personal information is the first step that I do to update that. And why that's extremely important, like let's say you had a charge off, but that charge off is associated with that previous address. If I'm able to get your address off and then I file a dispute and they're not able to connect you to that previous address, then that helps get it off even faster. But let's say that address is on your report. That's going to help them validate it. Then it's going to be a harder task to get that dispute off your credit report, if that makes sense. I hope that does. If you come across any of these issues on your report, you can and you must dispute it. But first, please start with the personal information, like I just mentioned. Okay, so this is what I call the credit pie. The credit pie. It's like a pizza pie. I don't eat pizza, but look at it, it's like a circle. So, okay, the most important thing is your payment history. I always tell people, paying your bill, pay your bill, pay your bill. Paying your bill on time is 35%. I think if I'm doing the numbers right, it's 192.5 points just by paying your bill. So if you do the numbers between 300 and 850, if paying your bill on time is giving you already 192 points, why wouldn't you want to pay your bill? Pay your bill. While anyone, you yourself or someone is working on your credit, if you're paying your bill on time, that will actually help to increase your credit score fast. Just by keeping your credit utilization low, by making sure you have absolutely no late payment. That is such a negative thing. No late payment, no collection, no charge off. Just pay your bill on time. Use your credit card like it's a debit card, but use only, like, let's say you have $100 on your debit card, but you have a $500 credit limit. Only use $100 and then pay back before the statement date. Don't think that I have $500. You don't have $500. You always have what you have in cash, and debit card is cash. But then you get rewarded for using your credit card, especially if you have like a rewards program on that credit card. Okay, and then amount of debt. The amount of debt you have is 30%. So again, that's the utilization. If you have 15,000 available in credit, and the amount of money that you're using has to be lower than, people say 30%. I like to keep mine 20 or 10%. So that is 30% of your overall score, your credit utilization, keeping it low. You will see if you have like a 50% credit utilization, how massively it would affect your credit. You'll see your credit decrease. Okay. Length of credit history. This is a big one. Like the other day, I closed a credit account that I had for a long period of time. Why I closed it is because it had first of all, I got it when I was trying to build my credit. So what happened with these credit companies is they'll have high interest rate because they know that you need them. So they'll give you like a high APR, and they'll charge like they'll charge you a fee to use a card each time, and as well as a membership fee each year. So they was charging me $150 each year annual fee, plus the interest rate, and plus each time you use the card, you just get a small fee. So those hit me 3 times. So I'm like, you know what? This is worth me lowering my credit score temporarily. So I canceled that card, and my credit score decreased by, I believe, like 79 points. I was so upset, but it's okay, because what happens when you close any account, it brings your overall average lower. And the length of history is 50%, which is pretty high. Okay, so, and the amount of new credits. Yes, you are judged by how often you get new credits. So again, like I mentioned, once your credit is stable over 740, it is okay to apply for things because you're judged 10% of amount of new credit. So keep applying for new credit. It is okay. Or even when you have a credit card, you can call the credit company and say, I want to increase in credit limit. That is still considered new credit because it's new available credit, although it's the same credit card, but it's a new available amount. Okay. And then there's credit mix. So credit mix is what different type of credit cards you have, like I mentioned in the previous slide. So yeah, this is the pie. So study this pie. And as I mentioned, the most important part that I haven't read is the payment history. Pay your bill and you already ahead of the curve. Okay. Everyone has a right to dispute questionable items on their credits report. Questionable items include any items you do not feel is 100% factual correct, errors, mistakes, and duplicates accounts, excessive inquiries. If you apply for one company and you see that it's on your report like 5 times, then you have to dispute that. I'm gonna give you guys before I move forward. So when you're doing home shopping or auto shopping, it only affects like with home and auto. If you're applying within what is it, 30 or 90 days, it only hits your credit. I mean, you will see the multiple time that you apply, but it will only affect your score one time. So it is a grace period you have when you're buying a home or buying an auto. So you can consistently run your credit and it won't affect your score, but you will still see it on your credit report that you applied for how many company, but it won't affect your actual number scores, if that makes sense. And also, let's say you get your credit score to over 700, you're trying to apply for Amex called American Express. Within the 24 hours, apply for as many as possible until you get denied. So, and that will only count for one inquiry. Although within that time you're applying for like 10 cards, you get approved for 5, you only see it on your credit score one time, on your credit report one time. So when applying for Amex, apply until you get denied. Got it? Okay, cool. Okay, then there's conflicting personal information, like I went over earlier, like misspelled name, the wrong date of birth. You want to dispute that. Mixed up credit file, same name as father or stranger. Someone open an account using your identity. Identity theft is so big right now in 2022. With all these scamming, you want to always keep a close eye on your credit report. I cannot stress that enough. Keep a close eye on your credit report. I would say 24/7. Check once a week. I check like once a day. I'm always at it because obviously I'm in the credit business, so I'm constantly checking. But you always want to check because people are opening credit cards, opening all kind of accounts with people information. So please be mindful of that. And if you can, freeze your account. You have the legal rights to freeze your Equifax, freeze your TransUnion and Experian. Now, if you're building or trying to fix your credit, you can't have those bureaus frozen, obviously. But after your credit score is in a good standards, freeze it. Like whenever someone was trying to apply for anything under your name, they'll have to send you an email or a text message to validate that. So that is why people freeze your account. Okay. You also have the right to remove anything which is outdated, length of time, or calling or negative item has been on a report. So it depends. Like I know in New York it's 7 years, but in other states they'll have like 10 years, they'll have 6 years. So it all depends on what state you're in. When it comes to bankruptcy could legally be on your credit report up to 7 to 10 years in New York. I'm not sure what other states. I'm located in New York, so keep that in mind. You could go and check on Google what's the length in your state. Okay, so myself as a credit specialist, I use the law to get things off report. So it's not a fraud that I'm doing. I'm not going and saying this happened when that didn't happen. I use the law because there's 80% of what's on your credit report of people, there's so much mistakes that we could use the law to get it off. So it's not like someone who's doing credit is doing it an illegal thing. We're using the law to fix your credit because a lot of people don't understand how to read their credit, so they don't know the mistake that is on their credit and that legally they can get that off, you know? Okay, so the FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Agency, use the law to your advantage. You have the right to know what's on your credit file. You must be notified if the information in your credit file has been used against you. 3, you have the right to dispute incomplete or inaccurate information, and the credit bureaus must correct or delete within 30 days from the time they receive the dispute. Sorry. Credit bureaus may not report outdated information. So let's say you have a collection and it's been 10 years. They should have deleted that from year 7. Now, a lot of these companies, they might be aware of it, but they don't care. They want to keep you under their spell for as long as they can. So that's why it is extremely important to keep an eye on your credit report and know how to read it and know when is your last reporting date and when is the date that it's going to fall off. Okay, 5, file can only be shared with people or company with a valid need. So legally, you could tell Equifax, I do not want you to share my information with LexisNexis. What you're going to do is go on LexisNexis website, and then you opt out of sharing the information, and then you could opt into freezing your account so they can't share your information. You could do this, you could do it with any credit bureau. Equifax, like I mentioned, the top credit bureaus and also the second credit bureaus. You could legally opt out of them sharing your information. Okay, Fair Credit Reporting Agency, which is the FDCPA, provides limitation on what debt collection can do when collecting uncertain types of debt. Prohibits debt collection companies from using abusive, unfair, or deceptive practice collect debt from you. So it is, you see how you begin all these calls? It is not legal for them to be harassing you. If you say on the call, please do not call me back, any communication should be in mail, they have to legally stop contacting you, or you can sue them. We have the right to sue them. A lot of time they take advantage because they assume the consumers we don't know, or we're not going to have the time to do it. Well, we legally have the right to sue these companies. They should not be harassing us for anything at all. Whether we owe them, we don't owe them, they should not be contacting us when we don't want them to contact us. So if one of them call you, you got to say, any communication, I'm not owing up to any debt, any communication, please send it in writing to the mailing address you have on file. Okay. As relates to credit repair, the FDCPA can help you place your burden of proof on a debt collection if you dispute the validity. Also, the debt collector, they must send consumer a letter with basic information on the debt within 5 days of contacting them. So when they contact you, you request for them to send you information, they have 5 days to send it to you. Okay, statute of limitation. Credit time clock. Maximum amount of the items can appear on your credit report. Credit time clock, derogatory account, 7 years. This is in New York. Like I mentioned, I'm based in New York, so it might be different in other states. So don't hold me to that if you're not in New York. This is in New York. Okay, unpaid tax lien indefinite. Yeah, you know, the government, they don't put no time period when it comes to tax. Chapter 7 bankruptcy is up to 10 years from the date filed. Public records like evictions or if you've been sued, it stays on your record for 7 years. Closed or inactive accounts is 7 years. Okay. Debt time clock. So it will be like oral contact. So if someone call you and you admit to owning a debt, it starts from then of the oral contact. There's written contract, there's promissory notes, and there's open-ended accounts. Okay, bureau dispute, basic strategies to repair your credit. Okay, bureau dispute. So send a letter directly to the bureau is recommended, only 5 items at a time. Some people say 5 items. To be honest with you, I've sent more than 5 items and I haven't had any problem, but I've seen on the internet, or I hear a lot of people say, oh, only send 5 items because then they will just not paying attention, whatever. But it worked for me. I would just send all the items. I've sent up to 20 and I still get items deleted. So it's up to you pretty much. The credit bureaus are required to contact furnitures that reported the information for you. Do not contact them individually yet. It is all done for you. So once you make a dispute with like the Experian, they will contact, like, let's say you owe Macy's. They will contact Macy's for you and request from Macy's to validate this debt. And then Macy's would validate it. Now, you can contact Macy's yourself, but it's always good to go through Experian or the bureaus first, because if you provide enough information, they will just automatically delete it. You know, if you owe Macy's and you contact Macy's, obviously they're going to have the information on you to update your to update it or show you the proof that this is your debt. You know, so I always like to go through to the Experian, Equifax, and the credit bureaus first before I go directly to the company. Okay, so furniture dispute can only dispute one at a time. So when you're doing to the furniture, meaning if you send it to Macy's and you have like multiple accounts with them, do one at a time. So they don't, for one, they don't get confused, and just so you'll know that they actually working on one item at a time and they're not just ignoring the whole 5 thing, or they just, updating one of them when you send 5. So I like to just dispute with the furniture one at a time. Uno. Other strategies, intervention, write a goodwill letter. Like I had a late payment with Macy's a few years ago, and it was still a report on my report. I wrote to them like, yada yada, I'm trying to purchase a home, and because of the late payment, it is affecting my credit score. So can you please delete it? I've been a customer for many years, and if you look at my account, you see I've been actively paying my bill on time. The time that happened, and it was just my, like, some kind of excuse you give them, whatever, and they took it off. So a lot of time they don't have to. Sometimes you'll have to send like 1 or 2 follow-up letter, but a goodwill letter most of the time works. Like 80% of the time it does work. And a settlement. I don't like to do settlement, especially when an account is like over 3 or 4 years. I would not settle and wait until the 7 years pass. Or if I'm going to settle, I would ask for a settle and delete. So I do have a settle and delete letter. It is available in the DIY kits that you send to them. If they settle in for 80% of it and you agree to pay it, you will pay and they'll delete out report, which is good. But let's say you settle and it stays in report, it's going to affect your report, because now the date starts over for the 7 years, so now it's going to be on it for 7 more years, as opposed to sitting there for 4 years and you only have 3 more years left. You could have waited, but now it's going to start over. It's going to say settled for less than the action amount, and that's going to sit in your report, and it will bring your score up, but not up how it would if it was just totally deleted, if that makes sense. So I don't like settle and stay. I like settle and delete. So if they agree to that, then okay. Okay, lawsuits. Whenever it's or not corrected, you can sue them. So I like to do a lawsuit. Like if I send up to 5 letters and it still doesn't get disputed, we legally have the right to sue these people. If you're sending a factual information, a factual letter, and they're still not doing anything, they're just ignoring you, sue them. Just like how they'll sue us, the consumer, we have the legal right to sue them as well. I hope you guys are alive and alert and have your pen and paper and taking information. And my email is going to be below. You can set up a call with me. You could purchase a DIY kit, or you could become a client of mine, which I would love to. I would definitely love to work with each and every one of you, because everyone deserves good credit. Okay, the anatomy of basic dispute letter. So you could take a screenshot of this. I'm not gonna go over this, but this is kind of formula of how to do a dispute letter, which I have all the letters that's already aligned and everything. You just purchase a DIY kit. It's only $21, and yeah, just dispute it yourself, and it comes with instruction on how to. So it is pretty simple. Okay, some ways to rebuild your credit. Positive items. Low balances are obviously better than high balances. Keep this important piece of information in mind throughout your life. Every dollar of debt you owe is considered a risk factor. The more debt you owe, the more likely it is that you will not repay it. So I remember one time my mom was renting a store, and like years ago when she first started her business, and she called the landlord and said she's going to be late. I'm sorry, I'm adding money to my parking before I get a ticket. She called the landlord and said she was going to be late on her rent. And he said, if you're going to be late this month, imagine next month when it's 2 months. I can't accept that. And she said she took that with a grain of salt, and she was never late, because it made total sense. If you don't have the money to pay it now, what makes you think if you keep having it pile up, you're going to be able to pay it later on? So try to keep your debt. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to get a ticket. I've gotten so many tickets before. Try to keep whatever you owe very small, especially if you don't have a high income coming in. So, okay, on-time payments, please. I cannot stress this enough. Pay your bills on time. Call every credit companies you have and ask, when is your reporting date? Like for one of my credit cards with Navy Federal, reporting date the 16th. I pay my bill by the 10th, because sometimes it takes a few days to process. So pay before the date of reporting, because on the 16th is where they're going to report it to the credit bureaus. So whatever you owe them, the 10%, the 20%, the 50%, that's what's going to reflect on your credit score. And that's what's going to determine if it's going to be positive or negative. And please let me on the positive side. Piggybacking, there are two different ways to piggyback. One is an authorized user, and the second is a joint account holder. Now, let's say, now with the authorized user, I like that because let's say it's my account and I add my husband as authorized user. If I renege on my account and my account go into collection, all he gotta do is jump on the phone and say, please remove my name off this person's account. And all the late payment, all the collection, the history will be deleted from his account because he's only an authorized user. And the person's my account, so I'm gonna be liable for that. As opposed to a joint account holder, if both of us is on like a vehicle account and the car get into collection, it's gonna reflect it on both accounts because we're jointly liable for that account. So I would say when you piggyback in, if that's not really your account, go as an authorized user. Do not go a joint account holder unless it is someone in your home, like not even your mom or your father. I would say your spouse. If you and your spouse is buying a home together or buying a car together, then that is cool to do a joint account. But most of the time, just do authorized user. If you have a friend or family who have good credit in your family, even if you got to pay them a small monthly fee, ask, can you add me as an authorized user on your card, the card that has a high limit but low usage, and good mix of account. You should have at least one installment loan and 3 revolving credit cards. So an installment loan is like student loan, it's a auto loan, it's mortgage loan. So you should also have that. And that is it. Okay, that number needs to be updated, the 914 number. You can still do it, but that's definitely going to be updated. But thank you guys. Please email me for a free consultation for credit repair and anything else. I hope I helped. And if you need my help even more, please reach out, set up a Zoom call with me. Go ahead and purchase the DIY kits or jump on my website and become a client. Either way, I love you. I appreciate I appreciate you guys, and let's get it. Roll to 850. Later, y'all.